Alright guys, so I'm kind of getting back into Arduino coding and programming and stuff. So this is kind of a basic project compared to what I've done before, but I'm just trying to, remember how to do everything. So I thought I'd give you guys a tour of this project, as I'm going to do with all the projects I do, because I'm trying to hit my channel towards like how-tos and stuff. So here we've got a standard Arduino, pretty much anyone will do. Oops, I fail. So yeah, the Arduino, you've got 3 potentiometers, an RGB LED. I sanded mine to make it frosted, but you don't have to. I'm getting all kinds of weird focusing issues here. Okay. And then this is just a solid white LED. And so you can look at the code and wire it up based on the notes on the coding. But basically I've got the potentiometers hooked up to the analog pins. The RGB is hooked up to the 3 PWM, and then the white one is just hooked up to pin 8. And then they're all hooked up to power and ground and everything. So now we're going to take a look over on the software side. Let me load that up. Arduino. Alright, sorry about the wait, guys, but so I'm gonna go so here's the code. And my camera is pretty terrible, so I'm just gonna kind of point it out and tell you what it does, and you can look at the code in detail on the link in the description. The red lead off of the RGB goes to pin 11, the green off of the RGB goes to 10, the blue off of the RGB goes to 9, and then the white LED goes to pin 8. The 3 potentiometers, one is for controlling red, one is for green, and one is for blue. They're on 0, 1, and 2 analog pins. And then our setup, the red, green, blue, and white pins are all outputs, so you set them as outputs. Now in the void loop where all the stuff actually happens, it reads the values of the potentiometers, all 3 of them, stores it to your values, and then it maps those values to between 0 and 255 so that it fits the parameters of PWM, because those are the limits of how high and low the values can go. So it maps it to that. And then in here it says if red, green, and blue are all equal to or above 250, which is pretty much at the very top of the scale. And the reason I didn't put 255 is because it's not going to be exact sometimes, so I wanted it to just, if it's really close, it'll go. So if it's equal to or above 250 on all 3 of them, it turns red, green, and blue all off, and it turns the white light on. And else is just if the situation's any different, say if blue is below 250, or if basically if it does not meet this, then it goes in here, and it writes the red, green, and blue pins to the red, green, and blue values, and then it turns the white pin off completely. So I believe I've already uploaded this code to this board. Let's check that. Yeah, the code's on here, and it's just booting up right now. Trying to get an overhead view of this because that's kind of because the wires are in the way any other way. Alright, so here it is. you can see that the white light is currently on. That's what happens when all of these are maxed. So we'll just turn them all down. So you can adjust each level individually. That's red. Hold on, lights off. This might work better. Green. And blue. You can mix them, like red and blue makes purple. But what happens when you turn red, green, and blue all the way up to the maximum on an RGB, it's supposed to make white, but the white light it produces is really impure and it kind of looks ugly. So what I did is I make it switch over to the pure white light, and that actually looks white. See, I'll back this off just a tiny bit so it doesn't register. This white is kind of, see how if you tilt it you can get the different colors on the lens? Like across your screen you can probably see it streaking a little bit. But on the pure white it doesn't really, it shouldn't do that. That's just my camera being sucky, but it's more pure of a light. And really the practical use and the reason I made this is because I'm making some custom furniture for my room, and it's going to have lights in it that are controllable, and I want, if I set it for white, like if I want some sort of just room lighting and I want it to be white, it'll look really nice instead of kind of being colored. It'll be pure white, so that's why I did that. So it's kind of just a basic project to get back into Arduino. So if you have the parts for this, I would recommend you try it, and if you don't have the parts, then I think you should buy some parts, because these are all pretty basic parts that I just had laying around in a bin. So yeah, I think you should just try out this project to try to kind of get used to working with Arduino. So I guess that's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next videos.